It's Thursday the 5th of February from the MEN newsroom. This is Channel M's Lunchtime News and these are today's headlines. A former mayor breaks down in tears as he tells a court he's a benefit cheat. Bernard McCartin's now told to pay back what he wrongly claimed. Also coming up, as the Bank of England decides to cut interest rates to a new low, we speak to a business bucking the recession.
The first week after Christmas was it was incredible. We had sales of 39% up on like for like, and then since then every week through January's been up.
And recovering well, but now the RSPCA are looking for the rest of a litter of pups after these two were rescued from over a bonfire.
We've just got the two of them, but I mean there could be more. We've no idea really. We're at a bit of a loss with the children running away.
Good afternoon. First this lunchtime, the former mayor of Horwich has been given a suspended jail sentence for benefit fraud. Bernard McCartin conned the taxpayer out of £18,000. With the details, here's Alison Spooner.
Bernard McCartin broke down in tears as he admitted at Bolton Magistrates Court he'd been cheating the benefit system. The 66-year-old had claimed he had crippling back pain that meant he couldn't walk more than 25 yards without a stick. Over a 4-year period, he was paid £18,000 of taxpayers' money. But while he was acting as mayor of Horwich, he was caught on camera by the Department of Work and Pensions. They spotted him carrying a large bag of compost from his car, shifting heavy boxes of match-day programmes which he sold from his wheelchair at the Reebok Stadium, painting fence posts and carrying heavy shopping bags. Magistrates have now given him a suspended prison sentence and put him on an evening curfew, which means he'll have to wear an electronic tag. He'll also have to repay the £18,000 at a rate of £12 a week. In a separate case, a family of 5 from Eccles have also been convicted of benefit fraud after claiming more than £130,000 between them. Alan and Lorraine Peters were caught after this photo of them holidaying in Spain emerged. They both claimed they were too sick to work at a cleaning firm in Stretford. Alan said he couldn't leave home without an oxygen cylinder, and his wife said she needed a stick to walk. They used false names for their jobs at Cleaning Northwest, which also employed their 2 sons, Gary and Martin Peters, and Mrs. Peters' older brother, Compton Mackenzie. All 3 of them also admitted fraud. Martin Peters has been given a 12-month community order and ordered to do 160 hours of unpaid work. The other 4 will be sentenced next month. Alison Spooner, Channel M News.
Manchester City defender Micah has been arrested by police after a man said he was assaulted outside a nightclub in Hale. The footballer was questioned by police yesterday and has been released on bail. It's alleged an 18-year-old was attacked at about 12:30 in the morning on Christmas Eve. The makers of Cristiano Ronaldo's Ferrari have ruled out any fault with the vehicle before his crash last month near Manchester Airport. The Manchester United player's vehicle bounced off the walls in a tunnel under the runway. It had been feared the impact had knocked out the brakes, preventing him stopping any sooner. But the Italian car firm says that's not the case. Police will speak to him and it's possible he could be asked to take a driving course rather than being charged with careless driving, which could mean points on his licence and a fine. Police are looking for a woman originally from Wigan who's gone missing after being recalled to prison. Angela Roby, who's been convicted of supplying Class A drugs, had been released on licence but failed to keep in touch with her probation officer. She has a tattoo of Tweety Pie on her left arm and the name Harry, and sometimes goes by the name of Angela Gaskell. The Bank of England has announced it's cutting interest rates to a new low. They've been reduced from 1.5% to just 1%. Experts have been predicting the change as part of an effort to help the economy recover. Well, joining us now to get some reaction to this is Paul Kirkham from the Greater Manchester Chamber of Commerce. Paul, thank you very much for joining us this lunchtime. First of all, this cut wasn't unexpected, was it?
It's not unexpected, no. It was widely predicted that we'd have at least another 0.5%, taking it to a record low.
How bad has it been for businesses? Because we've seen several interest rate cuts already. Have they not been filtering through?
They don't appear to have worked as the government would have liked. For example, we're not seeing the reductions passed on by the banks to the businesses, and they've not had the effect of freeing up the economy as much as we would possibly have liked.
What are businesses saying to you about how much they're struggling and how much they're worried about the next few months going forward?
It's a mixed bag, really. I mean, at the moment the economy isn't in a good state. We get a lot of businesses saying they are struggling. They're struggling for customers, they're struggling with the banks, they're struggling to actually get the credit and the finance in place to be able to continue. But conversely, we're actually talking to some businesses who are doing okay at the moment.
So how much do you expect today's cut to have a favourable impact for businesses, or what other things would you like them to be doing?
It's a more holistic approach I think we would call for. The interest rates are one tool, quite a blunt tool, because if you reduce it down to 1%, you're seriously reducing your options for further manoeuvres in the future. We'd like to see more encouragement of easier access to finance, more business support, and more attention paid to things like skills and the workforce that is available, rather than just sole measures like interest rate cuts.
OK, Paul Kirkham from Greater Manchester Chamber of Commerce, thank you very much for joining us this lunchtime, much appreciated. Now, there have been lots of stories of retailers struggling because of the recession, but in one part of Greater Manchester, sales are on the increase despite the tough times. Nina Warhurst's been finding out more.
The Lowry Outlet Mall in Salford is bucking the trend. It saw a 20% rise in shopper numbers in January compared to last year and an 18% rise in like-for-like sales. The centre manager says it's because lower interest rates are freeing up cash for some shoppers, and that as the belt gets tightened for others, cut-price retailers are feeling the benefits.
People are really trying to get value for money, and we did expect to see a drop really after that first week of Christmas, but it seemed to be what people did was they saved their money or got cash for Christmas, and the first week after Christmas was it was incredible. We had sales of 39% up on like-for-like.
Now people might say, if things are going so well, how come there's 10 of your units sat empty?
Everybody can't have failed to see Woolworths and Zavvi, and as you'll have seen, Zavvi's one of our retailers, and unfortunately due to the economic downturn, we've got several other retailers who have been put into administration, but it's been across the country.
So sales are up here because at the moment we're spending more on budget goods and bargains, but just across from the Lowry Outlet Mall is the Lowry Theatre, where to their surprise and ours, they've been enjoying one of the busiest couple of months in their history. But why?
I mean, in a way, people always want to go out and have a good time. And if the product's right, they will come. And a lot of our product has been fun, entertaining, light-hearted. And I think in times when there's an economic downturn, people want to go out and have fun. So they will find the money to do that.
So it looks like more of you are heading to Salford to shop because you're looking for a bargain, or to use the theatres to just cheer yourselves up. Well, we want to know more about how your spending habits might be changing at the moment. So send us an email or give us a ring on the number below. Nina Warhurst, Channel M News.
House prices look like they're on the up again. Figures from the Halifax show that they rose by just under 2% in January. It put an end to a run of 11 monthly falls. The average home now costs just under £164,000. A gunman from Longsight has been jailed for 8 years after being tracked down by a trail of blood after accidentally shooting himself. Imran Khalik agreed to get rid of a semi-automatic pistol after it was used in a shooting at a house in Withington. Court heard how he shot himself in the thigh as he put the weapon in his jeans. His DNA was found in the blood left behind as he limped away. Oil refinery workers in Lincolnshire have voted to return to work. They've been on unofficial strikes for the last week in a row over foreign workers being employed at their plant. A deal's been done to replace 102 of them with staff from the UK. A chandelier that once had pride of place in Manchester Airport has been moved to a new home. All 1,300 droplets are now on display at the World of Glass Museum in St Helens after being restored.
Amazing chandelier, created in 1962 for Terminal 1 at Manchester Airport, and it stayed in Terminal 1 for, let me think, up until about 1987, and then in 2002, sadly they were taken down, and that's when our conversations with Manchester Airport started. And what's been really nice is being able to work with a company that wanted to conserve the heritage. It's taken us 5 years, maybe a little bit longer, to actually get to the position where we are today.
Now with details of an Argentinian footballer hoping to stay here in Manchester and the rest of the day's sport, here's Sam Goodman.
Thank you very much, James. Yes, well, I've got news on a Manchester team as good as through to a cup final, but first, it's just coming through that Manchester City manager Mark Hughes has hit out at the FA over their decision to charge Sean Wright-Phillips with violent conduct following an incident with the Stoke midfielder Rory Delap. City have until 6 p.m. this evening to decide whether to appeal, which could result in a 3-match ban if Wright-Phillips is found guilty. And it appears Manchester United are finally ready to end the uncertainty surrounding the future of Argentinian striker Carlos Tevez. They're hoping to offer him a permanent contract, believed to be in the region of around £30 million. Well, Manchester City's youngsters remain on course to retain their FA Youth Cup after easing past Newcastle 4-2 last night. Gregory Cunningham, Alex Nimley and a brace from Robbie Mack secured a home quarter-final tie against either Everton or Norwich. Well, New Bolton signing Mark Davis has been named in Stuart Pearce's England under-21 squad. They face Ecuador next week. He'll be joined by United's Danny Welbeck, Fraser Campbell and Tom Heaton. There's also City's Needham Anuha and Micah Richards, as well as Wigan's Lee Cattermole. Well, on to ice hockey. The Manchester Phoenix have 1 foot in the final of this season's Challenge Cup, following last night's 5-2 victory over the Basingstoke Bisons. David Alexandra Beauregard chipped in with 2 goals, with netminder Stephen Murphy named man of the match. And staying with the Phoenix, the draw has just been made for the semi-finals of the Knockout Cup, and Tony Hand's men will travel to the Newcastle Vipers in the first leg, providing they overcome the Hull Stingrays in their outstanding tie. Well, the cricket continues today in Jamaica. England will resume on 236 for 5 this afternoon, having at one stage slumped to 94 for 4. And Kevin Peterson, who hit 97, has defended the shot, which denied him his 16th Test century. Well, I'll have the latest scores from the second day's game in Jamaica.
Thanks very much, Sam. That's with Andy Crane from 5 o'clock tonight. Plenty more to come on today's programme, including a newsagent frustrated that a case against shoplifters he caught has been dropped.
Disgusted with the CPS, everything what's gone on. I mean, no way this should happen to anybody. No way. All the shopkeepers, what's the point in having CCTV? Spend all that money for nothing.
And why laughter really could be the best medicine. Details next. Welcome back to Channel M's Lunchtime News. We're here every day between 12 and 1 o'clock with all of Greater Manchester's headlines. You can always check out our reports online as well at channelm.co.uk. On there right now, the grave which has been repeatedly desecrated, leaving a family devastated. And also check out the pictures of Gorton Monastery, which is celebrating after being told it can hold marriage ceremonies. That's at channelm.co.uk. Next, the police are reinvestigating a brutal attack on a Salford landlady after a nearby pub was targeted in a similar attack just 3 weeks later. In that one, the landlord was left with a shoe print on his forehead, and now police believe a gang could be operating in the area.
Kelly McElroy was punched in the face by robbers on her way to bank more than £2,000 worth of cash. She says the brutal attack has caused her sleepless nights.
As I was walking up just with the bag on my shoulder, I just felt like a yank from behind, and as I turned round, the lad just punched me in the face. So I just let go of the bag and he just run off.
Kelly, what impact has this had on you?
I'm all right in the day when I'm up here with the kids and that, but then when I'm getting in bed, it's like my mind's whirring all the time. It's like my brain's not shutting off. He didn't have to punch me in the face. Could have just took the bag. I'd not even put up any sort of resistance, and as I just turned round, he'd punch me, so.
Hers isn't the only pub that's been targeted.
This pub, which is just 1.5 miles from Kelly's, was also targeted just weeks later, perhaps by the same gang. But this time the attack was so vicious, the landlord was left with a shoe print on his forehead. The attack against Jonathan Robinson is being treated as attempted murder after the gang drove at him in a car. The police say the force of the footprint they left on his forehead could help track down his attackers. There are similarities between the two pub attacks, although 3 weeks apart, both banked similar cash amounts on a Monday.
How did you feel when you heard about his experience?
Just good for him. There's just no need for that. They've already run him over. Why get out and why stamp on his head? I mean, what, to make sure you've done the job properly? You've already got the money, you've run him over.
What would you say to the people who've done this to you? Do you realise? Do you think they understand the impact it's had on you?
Oh no, they're just selfish and mindless, aren't they? They just think about themselves and the money. No regard for nobody else.
The police say they are reinvestigating. Beverly Walkden for Channel M News.
Snowfalls have shut hundreds of schools, this time in South and Mid Wales. There have been heavy snow showers overnight and further downfalls through the morning. Here in Greater Manchester, most schools are now back open, with just one or two still suffering problems. The Health Secretary is urging food and drink manufacturers to offer snack sizes for sale in corner shops and petrol stations. Alan Johnson's meeting leading business figures from firms like Mars, Coca-Cola, Britvic and Nestlé as part of the government's Change for Life campaign. He'll call on them to create new healthy snacks that'll appeal to children and cut down portion sizes. A newsagent has been speaking of his anger after the case against two alleged shoplifters was dropped by the Crown Prosecution Service. Paul Ashton claims his CCTV cameras showed an offence being committed. Here's Kevin Duffy.
I've got 11 cameras on it, which covers all the shop. I paid £5,200 for it.
Shopkeeper Paul Ashton thought he'd done things by the book. He'd installed security cameras in his shop, and when he thought he'd caught shoplifters on camera, police made arrests. However, things didn't go as Paul expected.
I got a phone call on the 26th off the CPS saying it'd been dropped, discontinued. I asked why. They said there's not enough evidence. I said, well, you've got CCTV.
One of the things which will surprise many people about this story is the fact that although Paul's security video was of sufficient quality for the police to go and arrest two people on suspicion of having committed an offence, later on the Crown Prosecution Service lawyers decided that there was insufficient evidence and they decided to drop the case.
I'm disgusted with the CPS, everything what's gone on. I mean, no way this should happen to anybody. No way. All the shopkeepers, what's the point in having CCTV?
Paul Ashton's case is just one of countless where police have first made an arrest, but the Crown Prosecution Service have later dropped the prosecution. Which, of course, means those people are innocent, says Derek Millard-Smith.
Obviously, the police have to have suspicion. They don't have to have cut and dried evidence, but they have to have reasonable suspicion to arrest an individual. Whereas the lawyers who deal with it for the Crown Prosecution Service have to decide whether or not to use up valuable court time in a matter. And whilst it may appear disappointing to an individual whose case has been discontinued, if that evidence isn't sufficient to convict an individual beyond reasonable doubt, then the case should not proceed in the public interest.
Despite the experience, the cameras are still rolling at Paul Ashton's shop. Kevin Duffy for Channel M News.
Thanks, Kevin. Well, in a statement, the Crown Prosecution Service here in Manchester have told us that despite Paul Ashton's CCTV footage, lawyers who reviewed the case decided there was insufficient evidence for a realistic prospect of conviction. Next, if you're feeling down and there's not much to smile about, here's one that might interest you. Some nurses here in Manchester reckon laughter really is the best medicine, and now they're inviting some of the city's top business people to find out more about how this could help them. Well, to talk a little bit more about this with us now is Stephanie Davis from Laughology. Thank you very much for coming in. This sounds fascinating. What is it about laughing that's supposed to be so good for us?
Well, it has a physical effect and a mental effect. So the physical effect is it produces endorphins, it boosts the immune system, and it has a really good effect on the cardiovascular muscle, the heart, because it beats faster. So it's like a cardiovascular workout. And then psychologically, it helps you think better, think more clearly, because when you're upbeat and you're happy, you are more likely to problem solve with ease and think about the perspective rather than just the problem.
Cracking a smile, bursting out laughing, you can't always do it on the spur of the moment, can you?
Well, you can't, but there is a lot of research to say that producing laughter and fake laughing is really good for you, because if you just behave in the way that you know that when you laugh, that you smile, shoulders back, head up, then it starts to change the way you think and feel already, so it starts to shift your mood, so it is positive even if you fake it.
And business people you've worked with, how much of a help's this been to them once you've worked with them?
Well, we've seen that they've been more productive, the stress has come down in work. We've actually had emails 6 months after from people saying I was in a really stressful meeting today and I come out and I did some of your techniques, went back in and it was great. So it's been a real boost for businesses, especially in this time.
Excellent, fascinating. Thank you very much for coming in to tell us about it. And if you want to find out more, get yourself along to Grado Restaurant in Manchester City Centre this evening. Now, RSPCA officials say they're looking for the rest of a litter of pups after 2 of them were found being tortured by a group of children. A woman in Rochdale spotted the youngsters, some as young as 10, trying to roast them over a bonfire. Ben Bland takes up the story.
A member of the public came in, a young lady who was in quite a distressed state, really. She was quite hysterical, really. She had a puppy under each arm, and she'd been walking into town on Newbold on the canal and found a group of children, and Guy, they were kicking, and Cinders here, they were passing through the flames of a bonfire.
The 2 puppies were discovered by the woman as she walked along the canal towpath. She heard a yelping and then raced across the bridge to discover a group of children, some as young as 10, torturing those 2 little pups.
Poor Cinders here had all the top of her head singed. So basically it was the children that were using them as toys, I suppose, and passing them through the flames of a bonfire. It's quite disgusting, really. We've no idea where the puppies came from. We don't know if they belong to the children or not, really. We've no idea who the children were. They ran away. So obviously if anybody could give us any information about these children, if they've heard anything in the school playground, you know, children saying what they've done, if we would tell a teacher and give us some information, that would be good. My concern is if there's any more puppies in the litter, and if so, where are they? I mean, we've just got the 2 of them, but I mean, there could be more. We've no idea, really. We're at a bit of a loss with the children running away.
As you can see, these 2 are doing just fine, but if you'd like to offer them a home, you can contact the centre here in Rochdale on the number below. Ben Bland, Channel M News.
Right, let's find out how much longer the snow showers are going to be lingering around for. Michelle Eagleton has the forecast.
Chilly one across Greater Manchester. We saw some snow this morning. We are going to see it, unfortunately, this afternoon, especially in higher ground places like Oldham and Glossop really are going to suffer. So if you are heading out and about, please take extra care today and also wrap up nice and warm. You are going to need those extra layers, I'm afraid. Now, the good thing about it, though, is we're not going to see that much rain. It's staying dry apart from those bits of snow that we're going to be seeing right across the region. And it's been pretty much like that since 10 o'clock this morning, although, like I say, not stuck in some places, but other areas have suffered as we've gone through the morning. And this afternoon really is no change at all. There'll be a blustery, quite chilly wind as well as we approach overnight. Those temperatures dropping to -5, so not really great news for you there. But I can tell you that tomorrow it's going to be staying icy in the morning. In the afternoon, we've got a slight change. There will be some showers. Then Saturday, best day really for going outside. Lots of sunshine. Sunday and Monday, though, get your brollies ready because we are going to see some showers and they're going to be heavy.
You're watching Channel M's Lunchtime News. Our main headlines this afternoon. The former mayor of Horwich has broken down in tears telling a court he's a benefit cheat. Bernard McCartin's been told to repay the £18,000 he was paid after court saw footage of him delivering leaflets and lifting heavy bags while claiming he couldn't work. Interest rates have been reduced from 1.5% to just 1%. It puts them at an all-time low. The cut was expected as the Bank of England tries to help the economy cope with the recession. The Manchester City footballer Micah Richards has been questioned by police investigating an alleged assault on a man outside a nightclub early on Christmas Eve in Hale. He's been released on bail. Police are looking for a woman originally from Wigan who's gone missing after being recalled to prison. Angela Roby, who's been convicted of supplying Class A drugs, have been released on licence but failed to keep in touch with her probation officer. She has a tattoo of Tweety Pie on her left arm and the name Harry, and sometimes goes by the name of Angela Gaskell. We'll have more on all of those stories and the rest of the day's news with Andy Crane here from 5 o'clock tonight. But that's all from the Lunchtime News today. From the entire team here, have a good afternoon. Bye-bye for now.
Carnarvon is located on the northwest coast of Wales and is famous for its castle and for being a stronghold of the Welsh language. It's one of the best places in the world to hear a living Celtic language, as over 80% of the population actually speaks Welsh. The castle itself is definitely worth a visit and is architecturally one of the most impressive of all the castles in Wales. Transport links are good in the area. There are plenty of buses to take you from A to B, trains run from Bangor regularly, but driving is generally the easiest way to get around, and the A55 expressway is around 15 minutes away. For those of you that like to shop, Carnarvon has some great independent shops in the pleasant streets of the walled town. For even more choice, there's always Llandudno or Conway, which are a short trip away. Also within and around the city walls are a fair amount of bars and bistros, fashionable cafes and restaurants. For the latest art and theatre, head to Gallery Carnarvon. It's the latest cultural venue and also has its own bar. There are also plenty of schools to choose from in and around the area, and your kids have one of nature's biggest playgrounds on the doorstep. With the sea to one side and the breathtaking beauty of Snowdonia as a stunning backdrop, Carnarvon certainly has the edge and has plenty to offer for all you buyers, whether it's a new home or a holiday home you're after.
Well, you definitely can't argue with any of that. I've come down to Carnarvon town now. I'm at the very impressive castle, and next we're going over to Watkin Jones development, Dock Victoria, to take a look at a show home.
Hello, Sia.
Good morning, Gail.
Welcome to Dock Victoria.
Thank you very much. What are you going to show me first?
Well, I'm going to show you the first of our 2 show apartments here. This one is across 3 floors. Some of them are across 2, this one's across 3. This is the first of the reception rooms on the ground floor, and it's our studio.
What a gorgeous view.
Beautiful, isn't it?
This is a stunning room, Gail.
Beautiful, isn't it?
Absolutely. It feels huge because of that view.
I know, it's great. All of our apartments are spacious as this. This is a lovely living space. Combines the kitchen with the dining area and the lounge as well.
It's got such a perspective, hasn't it? And that, I do like your interior design decor as well.
Thank you.
Because the wallpaper, that gives the feeling of depth.
We start at around 1,200 square feet.
They start at that?
They start at that and go up to around 3,000 square feet. So they are incredible living spaces. And all, as you see, take in this incredible view.
Let's have a look at that kitchen. Oh, it's a super glam kitchen. Goes with the monochrome theme in the house, isn't it?
Yes, it's incredible, isn't it?
What comes as standard with the kitchens?
Well, everybody has a fully fitted kitchen, and obviously the choice of putting together units and the worktops and all the appliances, as anybody would. Obviously, depending on the stage in the build, there's more choices to have.
Do you know, even I would wash up. I never wash up at home. Even I would wash up there with that view in front of you.
I think everybody would.